What's up, guys? This is Rise and welcome to a special video. This has been my most requested video, I'd say, in a while. I get this comment all the time: Rise, can you do a video on charge move timing and when to throw your charge moves, best like how to count fast moves and that sort of thing. So this is a highly requested video. I'm excited to deep dive into it. It's going to be a slower pace. We're not going back with a bunch of battles. We're going to be slowly going in depth and breaking things down. But before we get into the juicy stuff, quick announcement. Thank you guys. Thank you all for the support and for 30,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. If you told me less than 2 years ago, when I just kind of started this channel as a hobby, that I'd have 30,000 subscribers in less than 2 years, I would not have believed you, so I'm very happy with the growth. Of course, with human nature, as you start to grow, you just kind of want more and more, so I hope we can continue growing into the future. I plan on bringing you guys some different content, some vlogs and such this summer when we have the in-person Pokemon Go regional tournaments, and hopefully we can grow the audience that way with some cool new content, new ideas. Second announcement, I'm doing a sponsored stream tomorrow on Twitch. I plan on going live around 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. On Thursday, I'm going to be playing a game called Dark Nemesis. In full transparency, I get $5 for every person that downloads the game and reaches level 10 in the game, which I think is pretty quick to do. So theoretically, up to 260 people can do that, and I get $5 for each one. So imagine if that many people actually did it. That'd be a big payday for Rise. And and this is kind of a dream of mine, right? A goal is to maybe potentially do YouTube and Twitch full time. So if you guys want to support the channel and help me out there tomorrow, I'd very much appreciate it. But all that said, let's get into the most requested video based on the comments. And we are going to get into some footage where I give you examples of when to throw in a moment. But before we do that, I think we should go over why it's important to time your moves correctly. So we're going to go over different turn durations of moves. I have a little chart here I prepared, which might look a little intimidating to some of you at first, but it's pretty straightforward, and I'll break the whole thing down for you. Basically, we have your different turn durations. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with some examples of what those moves are. And then we're going to break down after how many moves you should be throwing your charge moves in these different scenarios. So I know it looks kind of like a lot of numbers, confusing, but I think you'd be surprised when we break it down. You may get the hang of it. So we're going to look now at why it's important to throw with correct timing. And when people also ask me, Rise, what's the biggest difference between players of, say, expert elo and legend elo or leaderboard elo? I like to say one of the most important things in this game is timing when to throw your charge moves. And at the highest level, it makes all the difference. So here's a great example. Politoed versus Azu. It's a pretty even matchup, right? Two water types. Politoed's going to be spamming off Earthquake. It's going to be resisting the bubble. And Azu's going to be getting neutral play roughs off, assuming it has play rough. So if we uncheck this and we don't have optimal move timing and we simulate this battle, Politoed loses with a battle rating of 471 in the one shield scenario. Now, if we check optimize move timing and we click battle, Politoed suddenly wins with a battle score of 639. That's a big difference and a big jump. So what does that mean? That means Politoed, which is rocking a 2-turn fast move, against Azu, which is rocking a 3-turn fast move, you're going to be throwing your charge moves at a certain point where you're only giving the Azumarill 1 turn of free energy. And we'll break that down more so in the video footage that I did with my friend Panic. And to give you one more example of why this is important and can totally flip games, let's take a look at this matchup. Ninetales in the Ultra League versus Talonflame. So if we don't have optimal move timing and we simulate this, Ninetales just straight up loses in all 3 even shield scenarios. 1 shield, 2 shield, 3 shield, loses all of them. If we optimize our move timing and we simulate, suddenly Ninetales can actually win this matchup in the 2 shield because it's going to get off another Weather Ball, and we can actually look at how this plays out. So the Ninetales gets off a 4th Weather Ball if you have optimal move timing. And if we uncheck this again, Ninetales loses, only gets off 3 Weather Balls. So this is why it's important, and we're going to get into that. And I will take a look at our little chart again, and to give you a little breakdown, and you can screenshot this and maybe save this and try and kind of figure it out on your own as well. But the X's here, the red X's, are where your move timing actually doesn't matter that much. So when you're going up against a 1-turn fast move, which would be Lick, Dragon Breath, for example, it doesn't really matter because it's only 1 turn. You're not going to be able to really time no matter what you choose. It's just going to kind of be luck of whether it sneaks or not. Worst case, you should be giving up 1 turn of energy. However, if you are a 2-turn move like Mud Shot against a 3-turn move like Bubble, this is where things can get significant. And you would want to throw after potentially 1 fast move, after 4 fast moves, after 7 fast moves, or after 10 fast moves. So that's how you kind of want to read this chart. If you're rocking a 2-turn move Mud Shot over here on the left, and you're against a 3-turn move, this is after how many Mud Shots you want to throw. 1, 4, 7, 10. Why is that? It's because 1 Mud Shot being 2 turns against 1 Bubble is 3 turns. You are only giving up 1 turn of free energy. If you throw after 4 Mud Shots, you're throwing after 8 turns. 4 times 2 is 8, right? Just some simple math. And you're only giving up 1 free turn of energy because the 3 bubbles make up 9 turns. So that's like a breakdown of how you're supposed to read this little chart I put together. I'm not a statistician or anything, so apologies if it's a little messy for your liking. But that said, we are going to get into the footage. Sorry, the screen went a little wonky there for a sec. I think it's back to normal now. And I did some practice battles against my friend Panic, where he's not going to be throwing any charge moves. I am, though, and I'm just going to be showing you how to properly time your charge moves. So here we've got probably the most common matchup you'll ever see in the Great League, Azu versus G-Fisk. I thought I'd just do something that everyone has probably been in before, that you're used to. A very common matchup. So you're going to see when I'm throwing my moves. We're counting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're throwing after 10 Mud Shots, which is 20 turns compared to 21 turns of 7 balls. We always want to only give them 1 turn, if possible, of free energy. And you can do that anytime you're in a 2-turn versus 3-turn. This time, I threw after 4 Mud Shots, right? 8 turns compared to 9 turns. I'm only giving them 1 free turn of energy. And here, look, I can throw after 1. I can throw after 1 Mud Shot, 2 turns versus 3 turns, only giving them 1 free turn of energy. Now, after that's 3 examples of when you can throw properly, I'm going to throw improperly here. I'm going to throw on alignment. So I threw after 6 Mud Shots there. If you count them, 6 Mud Shots, which is equivalent of 10 turns. And Azu is throwing 4 bubbles. Wait, what did I just say that wrong? 6 Mud Shots is 12 turns. Did I say 10? So 12 turns. Azu 4 bubbles is also 12 turns. So I threw on alignment, and I got lucky that the Azumarill doesn't sneak. So the Azumarill doesn't sneak on me. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to throw on alignment 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And look, this time a free bubble goes through. You saw the sneak. So me throwing after 6, I allowed a free bubble to go through from the Azumarill. That's 3 free turns of energy, an entire free bubble that the Azu got. So that's an example, Azu versus G-Fisk, of when you want to throw properly. Now we've got G-Fisk versus Hypno, and I would say this is like semi-important, because when it's 2 versus 4, you just want to throw on odd numbers usually. You want to throw on odd numbers so you're throwing in between the confusion. Because if you throw on an even number, you're going to align. You're going to be throwing on alignment. That's what that means. So for example, if I threw after 8, that's 16 turns. And the confusions, 4 confusions would also be 16 turns. So you'd be throwing on alignment. You're giving them a chance to sneak an entire confusion, an entire 4 turns. So the safer play is to always throw in between the confusion. And you see this time, look, I threw on alignment and an entire confusion sneaks through basically for free. So I just allowed an entire confusion through. I throw on alignment again. This time I get the denial. So it's pretty much 50-50, depending on maybe your internet connection. You might sneak or deny more often than others. I know there's a big thing in the community where international players think that Americans sneak and deny way more. I personally, in my experience, think that was true, at least for myself, for a while. But ever since an update, maybe like a year ago, the end of Sylph Season 2, I felt like I kind of lost that advantage. But I did notice that. I did notice I could sneak and deny a lot when I first started playing and first started learning what that is. But I think after an update, I personally feel like I usually have a disadvantage when it comes to sneaks and denies. So I'm not sure if that still exists. But a lot of international players live by it, that Americans only win because they're closer to the servers or whatever. So now we have 2-turn versus 5-turn. And how about we do this? How about we transition over to the chart again. And how do I find this? If you guys screenshot this chart, you go over here on the left, you've got 2-turn, Mud Shot, against 5-turn, Incinerate. So when are the proper times to throw? After 2 Mud Shots or after 7 Mud Shots? Why is that? Because that's 4 turns or 14 turns compared to 5 turns or 15 turns. So it really is just mental math. We can get out of here, go back to this, and you'll see when I am throwing. So 2, 3, 4, 5, that's alignment, 6, 7. Oh, wait, what? When did I just throw? What the heck? Let me rewind that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I miscounted before. 7 Mud Shots, 14 turns compared to 15 turns. We're only giving the Talonflame 1 free Incinerate. 1 free turn rather than an entire free Incinerate. You see, this time I throw after 4 turns, which technically, I'm losing my concentration. That time I threw after 4 Mud Shots, which is 8 turns, compared to 10 turns. So that's technically not ideal timing, but it's still a lot better than throwing after, let's say, 3 Mud Shots, which is only 6 turns, where you're guaranteeing they get a lot of free energy. And one point also worth noting is it's important to follow the correct timing for the majority of situations, majority of battles, but there's going to be certain times where you just want to get off your move as soon as possible, right? If you're in the end game and both your Pokemon are low and you just need to get off a move to take them out, there's no reason to care about timing, right? You just want to get off your move as soon as possible to take them out. So this is more so like in the lead scenario, I would say, or the safe swap scenario, where timing can be really important, or if both your back Pokemon are completely healthy. This is where you always want to care about timing. But there's going to be certain situations where you just want to get off your move, right? You just want to get it off. I throw after 5 here. So I throw on alignment, and I get lucky that no Incinerate sneaks through. And we're going to try and do the same thing again here, I believe. 3, 4, 5. And this time, look at that. An entire Incinerate, 5 turns of energy sneaks through. And that can be really brutal and game-changing when that happens. So that's why timing can be so important especially against something like Talonflame is where it's usually most important. Because those Incinerates generate so much energy, 20 energy per Incinerate. Also, by the way, shout out to Panic, teammate of mine and streamer as well. I'll link his channel in the description. All right, so now we've moved on to a 3-turn fast move user with Azumarill. Azumarill runs Bubble. So without even looking at the chart, we can kind of just figure this out in our heads, right? 3 turns versus 4 turns. When would be the ideal time to throw? After 5 bubbles. But look, I'm running Play Rough and Hydro Pump. I don't have Ice Beam. So I'm not going to be able to get to a move in 5 bubbles. So for this first one, I'm going to have to think, when is the ideal time for me to throw? And 24 turns for Hypno would be 6 confusions compared to now we're stumping Rise. Let's see when Rise decides to throw in this matchup. Let's see. So we've done 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, correct, Rise. 9 bubbles would be 27 turns compared to 6 confusions. A 4-turn fast move would be 28 turns. And now that I have residual energy, now I can throw after 5. 15 turns versus 16 turns. We get a little bit of lag there, which kind of throws us off. But this time, look, I throw after 4 bubbles. So I throw after alignment, and an entire confusion sneaks through. Unfortunately, with the state of the game, there's like a lot of pauses and stuff that occurs. So it looked kind of weird there. Tough to visualize. But I do it again here, and this time you see it more clearly. I throw after 4 bubbles or 12 turns. That was incorrect. That was on alignment where an entire confusion sneaks through. Obviously, in that situation, right, my Azu was low. I just want to get off the move no matter what. But it's more about the timing, really, than the situation, since these are just kind of illustrative battles. Umbreon versus Talonflame. So let's think before we get in here. When would be the ideal time to throw? Well, Snarl, we know, is a 3-turn fast move against Incinerate, which is a 5-turn fast move. So ideally, we could throw after 3 Snarls, which would be 9 turns, but we're not going to get to a move in 3 Snarls. So we'll see when I decide to throw. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I throw after 6. And the reason for this, 6 Snarls would be 18 turns, right? Versus 4 Incinerates would be 20 turns. So we did give them 2 free turns of energy versus only giving them 1 ideally. But the reason for this is you also don't want to go over 100 energy, right? So in order to throw proper timing there, I would have had to do, 8 Snarls? 8 Snarls. And I believe Snarl is 13 energy. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if I do 8 Snarls times 13 energy, I'm going over 100. So that's why sometimes you have to sacrifice move timing for maybe a little bit, because you don't want to go over 100 energy, because then you're wasting your own energy. So I threw after 6 Snarls, 18 turns versus 20 turns. I'm only giving Talon 2 free turns of energy. Now that I have residual energy, I can throw after 3 Snarls. 9 turns versus 10 turns. That's the best possible timing there. 9 versus 10, I get the shield. And this time, I purposely threw on improper timing. I threw after 2 snarls, which is 6 turns. So I'm giving the Talonflame basically 4 free turns of energy. I'm just kind of guaranteeing they sneak there. If we can rewind it just a tad. Look, I throw after 2. So I'm basically giving him a free Incinerate, 4 free turns of energy for no reason. And then one more time, that's proper timing after 3 snarls. So hopefully you guys are getting a sense of what I'm saying. I know it can be a little confusing. When I do coaching sessions with people, this is probably the thing that might confuse them the most. But after a certain amount of time of practicing, it really just becomes second nature. Because you might be in a situation where it's a Pokemon you've never seen before, like an Armaldo. Well, that's a bad example because that's Fury Cutter. But, I don't know. Like a dragon, like one of the new dragons, Komodo, that you've never seen before. But you know it's running Dragon Tail, and you can time that correctly. Because you know the turn durations of the moves. Fast forward a little bit. Now we've got Hypno versus Azu. So ask yourself, what turn duration is Confusion? 4 turn. What turn duration is Bubble? 3 turn. So for proper timing here, you would want to throw after 5 Confusions. 20 turns compared to 21 turns. Or you could also throw after 2 Confusions, which would be 8 turns versus 9 turns. So we'll see how this plays out. Throwing after 5 Confusions, 20 turns. And we see that we had proper timing, no bubble got through. We only gave the Azu 1 free turn of energy, essentially. And then we throw after 2 Confusions. So 8 turns versus 9 turns. And that time I threw on alignment, right? I think I threw after 3 Confusions, so 12 versus 12, and a bubble sneaks through on us. 3, 4. So once again, this is improper timing. I threw after 4 Confusions, 16 turns, compared to he's finishing his 5th bubble, right? After 15 turns, so he's basically getting 2 free turns of energy. And again, I know this might be getting repetitive, but we're just going over different situations. And to finish things off, you might be thinking, well, what do I do if I'm using a 1-turn fast move like Lick or like Dragon Breath? Basically, you want to throw it right before the end of their fast move, if that makes sense to you. So I'm trying to throw before the end of the Shadow Claw. It's a little bit tougher when it's 1 versus 2, right? Because because it's like it's so quick, right? So that time, like, I didn't even purposely allow the sneak in. I just threw on alignment accidentally, and they got the sneak in. So it's a little bit tougher when it's 1 versus 2 because it's a very quick sequence. Because it's, when you talk about turns in this game, turns are a half second. So 1-turn fast moves are a half second. 2-turn fast moves are a second. 3-turn fast moves are 1.5 seconds. And so on. So that time I throw on alignment, another Shadow Claw snuck in for free. Not ideal in the slightest. And we'll go on to one more here. Munchlax versus Pidgeot. So you're going to see me attempt to throw my charge moves after 3 licks if I can. And what I mean by after 3 licks is after is like once the gust starts, I'm trying to throw after 3 licks. So I'm trying to give this Pidgeot as little free energy as possible. Throw at the end of its fast move. And check out, that time I threw 1 turn too late. I threw after 4 licks, which allowed an entire free gust to go through. So that's a big mistake. An entire gust is a big deal. And we'll go one more time. We're going to bulldoze for fun. Just trying to throw at the end of the gust to give them as little free energy as possible. And there we are. So that is the footage for you. And this video has gone semi-long, so we'll wrap it up in a moment. But just in conclusion, we go back to our little chart that we made. And how do I read this? I look at what fast move I'm using over here on the left-hand side. So let's say I'm using a Azumarill. I'm using Bubble, which is a 3-turn fast move. I'm not sure when I'm supposed to throw against a 4-turn fast move user, right? Because it's like a long duration. It's kind of confusing. After a 4, so if I'm over on the left side, I'm using Bubble with Azumarill. I'm against a Hypno. I want to theoretically throw after 1 bubble if I can, or after 5 bubbles if I can. You can also throw after 9 bubbles the first time, right? Because it's 27 turns versus 28. But by the time you get to 9 bubbles, they're probably going to have already thrown a move. So then you could just throw after 1 bubble, and so on. So I know this might be a little intimidating for some of you, but you guys can handle it. You guys are all smart cookies. You play Pokemon. And yeah, so the ones X'd out are less important, right? Because when you're going up against a 1-turn fast move, you can't really have proper timing. You just kind of throw when you want to. I typically like to throw somewhat early to put the pressure on them, but you also don't want to make it easier for them to catch, so you don't always want to throw right away. And then when we look at the same duration, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5, that's where I have them X'd out, because you're always going to be throwing on alignment. So it really comes down to luck, 50-50. Some people think certain tapping techniques make it better for them to deny and sneak. Personally, for me, I'm not sure. I think there might be some of that, but I find it's usually like the connectivity of the battle. If the battle feels smooth, I usually feel like I have a better chance of denying. If it feels kind of choppy and wonky, I feel like usually they're going to sneak. So that is that. And there's going to be also some situations, right, where maybe you're losing the battle, you're in some bad situations, and maybe you have to go for the denial. Maybe you consciously throw on alignment because you feel like you're behind and you have to like do something to catch up. So you try to deny them. So this is a good guide of when to throw properly for like 90% of the time. But like we talked about, there are certain situations, their Talonflame is super low and you just need to get off your foul play to take it out. Like, don't worry about throwing after 3 snarls. Just get that foul play off after 1 snarl, 2 snarls, who cares? Just get it off as soon as you can to take out their Pokemon. So this is a good guide for most situations, not necessarily when sometimes you just need to get your move off as soon as possible, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. FP Sticks, I think, has the best video on this so far, and I encourage you to check out his version as well. He's an actual teacher, so he explains it probably a lot better than me. But if you guys thought this was helpful, make sure to smash that like button, put a little bit of extra effort into this video. So likes would be appreciated. Subscribe if you're new. Comment down below. All comments help us out. And all that said, thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.